Another Monday. Here we are.
It's amazing how fast they come.
It is. And like you got all these plans. Okay, we're going to talk to this guy. We're going to do this. We're going to do this.
Oh, yeah, all of it.
Nothing.
Zero.
Complete failures.
I'm terrible.
Who are we, Thomas?
We are Power and Speed, 908-751-0211, as if somebody's going to call. I mean, why don't they call us?
Maybe I'm too abusive. I don't know.
Tad?
No, I listened to a couple of podcasts over the weekend, and the most lame podcasts have people calling in.
That's first off, I don't know what the fuck you're listening to because 90% of the podcasts don't have people call in unless they schedule them in advance.
Maybe they do. Maybe they're smarter than we are.
Well, I mean, we could do that, but why would you want to schedule some guy in advance other than a guest?
To sound like people are calling. I don't
Sound
know.
like you're popular.
Yeah, I'll handle this.
What do you got,
guys.
Tad?
Me?
I mean, we're supposed to tell the audience something.
Like us on Facebook and, iTunes.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's also quite easy for me to just tell these people, look, start fucking calling or I'm turning it off. It's going to be one of two things. All right.
What if they don't care?
Well, then, we got some free time on Mondays.
Well, maybe we shouldn't be taking their stuff off Mixler. They have to call us up to get it over.
That's all right. We just hatched a harebrained scheme we can't talk about to make some money.
Yes, we did.
We do need some time
We
for that.
absolutely did. All right. Well, on a personal, note, I mean, listen, we all make fun of Fudd. He's our resident retard.
And rightly so, usually.
Rightly so. Usually he deserves it.
Yep.
But right now he needs everybody's prayers. His mom had a little medical issue, and she's having a little bit of a hard time. So, we send our best to Alan. Look, we all goof on the guy, but, we are his friends. We certainly don't want to see anything, bad happen to him or his mom.
She'll be okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. It's just going to take some time.
Yeah.
And it started me thinking about my mom. Like, do I need a life alert thing or something?
Yeah.
I mean, it gets all messed up. This just sucks. Cruel world.
Yep.
But more importantly,
Uh-oh.
tomorrow is a very special day.
Your birthday?
No.
Oh.
More special than that.
Ted's birthday?
Nope. I'm just going to be patriotic for a minute.
Do it.
I don't give a shit who you're voting for.
Yes, you do.
Well, I do.
I don't know why you said that.
I do, but I can't say it. I've already been accused of awful things.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, if it's what is it, Florida, Ohio,
somewhere else, and
three other places.
Florida and Ohio are the big ones.
Yeah, they're the big ones. If you're in those areas, go vote. I mean,
and you know who to vote for.
Yeah, we don't have to say it.
If you're listening to us, you know.
Well, I don't know about that either.
Yeah, true.
But yeah,
just vote.
Yeah, just do it. No matter what. And honestly, no matter who you vote for, people got to get involved.
Yeah, you got
they
to.
Have to.
Yep.
Or things are never going to get any better. It's always going to be a mess.
That's right. It's your right to do it. You got to do it.
We got on Tad about that because he wasn't going to.
Yeah, Mike actually, this is true. Mike actually signed them up to vote before the show.
Well, I printed the form.
Yeah.
And but he's got to mail it in. But I'll make sure he does that. If not, some things will change for Thaddeus.
Yeah, we got plans.
Whose real name, by the way, we just found out is Dick.
We did find that out.
His first name is actually Richard. So he is Dick. Cletus Dick
Not
Thaddeus.
on my birth certificate, so it don't matter.
Oh, boy.
Let's just keep calling him Pat. Ted.
Cletus, whatever. All right. So where do we want to start? Let's start with Tad because this is always good.
Yeah. So, well, let me start. Let me preface this by saying we come here and we pregame with the mics off, and we sit here and go, okay, so what do you got for this week? And we all look at each other like we're all retarded because we all are. And this week, well, go ahead, Tad. So, what do you got this week?
So anyway, I got the guy that I talked about last week that's rebuilding or making new Offenhausers. And it turns out he's got quite a collection of other vehicles and engines, and he's got a Harley Knucklehead, which is like, I think, a 37.
Knucklehead. Harley Knucklehead.
Yes.
Car guys. Good.
And he's got a three-wheeled car. It's not a Morgan. If anybody out there knows what a Morgan is, British car with two wheels up front and a V-twin engine.
I defy any listener to call up or in our chat room tell me what a fucking Morgan is. A Morgan. I thought a Morgan was like a $50. Isn't there like a Morgan $50 or something?
Mike has watched Power and Speed, Top Gear.
Very similar,
and they had that Morgan on there. But anyway, so he's got these.
Wait a minute.
You sure you're not talking about a moron?
Is that the thing that kept rolling over?
No,
that's a Robin Redline.
That's a Robin Redline. No, the Morgan's like open cockpit, one rear wheel, V-twin sitting out front.
Oh, yeah. What a stupid car.
Well, he's got a...
and we're talking about it.
He's getting one in the place... If anybody's ever watched that show, Wheels of Time, the guy's got a huge Harley collection and a museum, and he shows all these, like, belt-driven...
Where is this show?
It's... what tape? I don't know. My TiVo picks it up all the time, but...
Just by accident?
Unfortunately.
So this is actually something that's on the air.
Yeah, it's on the air.
Okay.
It's on second season, I think. And the guy, he's got all these like leather belt drive Harleys and stuff, and he takes them out to antique road rallies and crap. And he does stupid things like, I got a bike, and it's got the original tires on it, these dry rotted tires, and he can take it out there to ride it.
It must be great to be entertained this easily. It Tad's
It has
world.
to be. I know.
Just, you got this little glimpse into Tad sitting there looking at some Harley with a leather belt and says, ooh.
And dry rotted
And I
tires.
watch this stuff just to put myself to sleep. But anyway.
Well, you're doing a good job for the listeners.
Good.
Yeah, because they're signing off in droves right now.
But anyway, this guy's got this Harley. He's got this car. So they're going to take it and they put it on TV, and they're going to rebuild it on TV.
Now, I will say this. I will stand up for you. That Offenhauser, after reading about the history of it, is a pretty amazing motor. And anybody, that is into car stuff should read a little bit about it. I think it was either you or Alan had said the world's most ridiculous valve job because the head and the cylinders are all one piece. So you have to get down. I don't even know how you do it.
Well, how do you even put the seats in?
I don't know.
It's up in the head.
I don't know.
Well, I'm going to go out and say that Tanner just told us that the Morgans are wood cars.
Yep.
Open top, wood body, and Richard from Top Gear owns one. And
Of course.
Tad, we're making fun of you, but he thinks you're making progress, so I guess you are.
Why? Because he's talking or because his...
No, I mean, I guess this is good content.
Oh, okay. Well,
'Cause I
Tanner,
know-
you just went down a couple notches in my book.
Really?
Because I know oddball stuff, but it's interesting.
Well,
Anyway.
I guess it is.
Yeah.
I want to see what this three-wheeled car that he's got that's not a Morgan because, that has a Harley engine on the front of it.
The Offenhauser motor is an interesting motor, and it is very expensive when you find
And
legitimate
they did
ones.
make a lot of power
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
for the time and for what they were.
And ironically, I looked at some of them, and, I said it to Tad, and he's like, no. But, I mean, they were
They're pretty good.
4-cylinder, right?
Yeah.
And they were 250 inches. I said, man, look at that thing. It's like a 4.250. And I'm looking at the bore and stroke, and Tad's like, no.
I thought they're small. If you saw like the guy holding the rod, you wouldn't think the motor is that size, but it is obviously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no. It's,
How long was the rod?
I didn't get dimensions. The guy's just holding it in his hand. You're looking at it as like, what?
Well, we just figured obscure facts.
Yeah, I
You'd be
mean,
good at it.
as compared to what we know.
So
for
it was,
engines,
so it was as big as that guy's hand for anybody that's listening. That
Yeah.
guy and that hand of his
well, he had
On that show.
on that show.
No, it was on a show. It was on the internet.
All right, I do have a mute button for his mic. He's approaching the threshold rapidly. All right, I'll tell you what I had happen, which was lovely. And I'll tell everybody this. This is like a Mike public service announcement. If you own a battery tender, and now this is a battery tender brand battery tender. I'm not bashing them, not giving them a hard time. I'm not saying their product's junk. I'm just saying that shit can happen. So I left my house, wandered out, got somebody picking on Tad? Or are they picking on me? They can go fuck themselves.
No. Tanner said, good content did not come out of my mouth.
Okay.
He said, but it's content.
All right.
That shit's funny.
So I leave my house. I had a couple things to do. I went to like point A to point B, and then it was, getting late. I was like, all right, well, I did everything I had to do. I think I had to go to the bank. Dumb shit. Stopped off, got something to eat, got a salad at Longhorn,
Uh-huh.
walked in,
What kind of dressing?
1,000 on,
Croutons?
extra croutons.
Okay.
And I had to chop the onion up because they leave it in one piece, and I don't like that.
Okay. Killing me.
But I walk in,
Both two fucking retards. Go ahead.
and the whole house smells like acid or
Yeah,
sulfur.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And, immediately I'm looking at my little robot vacuum as his battery burning up. I'm like, what the fuck is going? I mean, it was bad, like bad.
Yeah, because he gets lost in that room and just.
Yeah, he'll drive in
Mike comes
circles
in,
for hours.
here, boy.
I open a garage door and from the house into the garage almost knocked me to fuck over. And
Wow.
there's smoke coming out of the hood
Wow.
of the 2001 Corvette. Battery is literally boiling over.
Sweet.
So I'm like, and then, thinking about this is what, hydrogen gas?
Yeah.
What do? I hit the fucking door openers,
nice.
and it was so fucked up, dude. I hit the door openers, and the minute I hit them, I was just wondering, is this the last thing I'm going to say?
Boom.
It actually went through my head as I pushed it. So as the doors open and I ducked behind the rest of the brick wall outside,
Yeah.
but it cooked that battery like I have never seen. Now, I don't know if it was a tender because they're supposed to have very intelligent protection stuff to not do that.
Like the room vacuum?
I don't know. Hopefully it's better than the room. I mean, that thing's been, the battery tender's been working forever. It's been fine.
Yep.
I don't know if the battery went bad. I don't know what happens, but let me tell you, if I really wanted the house to burn down, I should have just left because that's what would have happened next. I mean, smoke was actually coming out from under the hood of the car, like, vapor and everything. So it was going to go.
Well, good thing. You don't want the house to burn down.
Yeah, it's debatable.
Yeah, I know. You get a new house and everything, but it'd be a lot of work.
So if anybody's using a tender, maybe just poke your head because I don't know how long it was doing that. I mean, I didn't notice any smell. I mean, I seriously doubt it went from I'm fine, everything's okay to meltdown in, an hour. I don't think
probably
so.
not. Yeah.
So if you got a tender on over the winter, go check because God forbid I was sleeping or anything.
Yeah, that would have sucked.
Yeah.
But, good thought on hitting the automatic door opener.
Luckily, you don't smoke anymore. Walk in that garage with the.
Well,
boom.
I don't think a cigarette would have done it, but any kind of spark when you got hydrogen. I mean, you know how bad hydrogen is. I mean, the Hindenburg's a pretty good example of that.
Yeah. Hot and fast.
Yeah, that was so. And of course, the other Corvette, the newer one, sitting next to it with the windows cracked open. I'm like, that's fucking great. So I had to move that thing down in the building. It smelled like sulfur, so it's sitting down a building, windows down and top off, or top up.
That'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it'll air out, but it was really bad. So guys, if you got any tenders on your race cars and your trailers, whatever, take a look just periodically because unless you want to fire.
Yeah, keep an eye on them.
So that's part of my contribution. Public service announcement.
Good.
What do you got?
I got nothing.
Fantastic.
All right. Good night, folks.
Well, Howard is going to be calling today.
Yeah, he is. No, I got some stuff. I mean, you guys know I'm going to TX2K Wednesday. The Texas quarter mile, half mile Texas Speed Syndicate deal.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is going down there. Everybody that's anybody. Actually, Jay Reese is listening right now. I wonder if he's going. He could chat in. Let me know if you're going, Jay.
He's the Engine Labs guy, right?
Actually, he got a new job.
Oh, that's right.
He
You
works
told me.
for Front Street Media.
Yep.
I think he does the same thing for them, but he said he's not going and not anymore. I don't know what that means. Oh, I guess he's on delay. He didn't hear me say Front Street Media.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yes, I do. Yeah, it's kind of funny like we're saying shit and they're answering from 5 minutes ago.
But yeah, I mean, that's always a good time. All the hot cars, all the fastest cars probably, well, certainly in this country are going to be there. The Lambos, GTRs, Supras, Corvettes, Camaros, all that stuff.
Remember, the all-wheel drive is what you want to go with.
Of course. And they're going to do quarter mile. They're going to do half mile. I'm going to see a bunch of customers.
And primarily like the real fast stuff, Lambos, GTR, GTRs.
Yeah, Porsches.
Yeah.
Well, JJ's going with 3,000 horse Subarus. That would be 3 1,000 horse Subarus, not 1 3,000 horse Subaru.
The one we saw is down there already. So
yeah, it is. Yeah, they had a track rental. They have one tomorrow. Oh, Tad.
What?
I'm gonna have to take a leave of absence for like 5 minutes and run out to my truck.
What do you got?
I can't say.
Oh,
I got something for Tad.
Autograph condoms?
No.
From Junior, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's different.
Yeah. Wow. Tad's awesome. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing this week, and
when's the custom show in?
Oh, that's end of the month in Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I'm leaving March 28th for that.
I'm not going. Is Howard going to go?
Oh
yeah, he's presenting or something, right?
Yeah, he presents to the winner this year.
Well, let's get Howard on because he's calling and waiting patiently.
Yeah, he is.
Hold on a minute. Howard, you there?
Of course.
Hey, buddy, what's up?
How you doing?
I didn't forget about my Corvette. Don't worry. I just got to get unburied of some of my shit, and then and we'll get started.
Yeah, that's a common trend. It's they come and go. These projects.
Oh yeah, well this one's going. Trust me, this is going to go. I got to do something.
So what do you got going on, Howard?
What do we don't have going on, I guess, is the question.
I know one thing you don't have going on. You don't know how to pick an airline ticket, because Tom was discussing to me that you were going back and forth about where you should be in that airplane going over there.
Well, I think I should be on the upper deck. I just don't have the wallet for it.
Oh, my God.
I'm not a baller like Tom. I crown the world with a crown on.
Yeah, Tom's
Royal crown.
Tom's not a baller either.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think.
They love him over there.
Isn't that a ridiculously long flight?
It's 14 going and like 15 and change coming back.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so make them feel worse about it, Mike. Good job.
I would say, like, if I had kids, I'd sell them to be in the right place of that plane. Holy shit.
I mean, fortunately, I mean that Emirates Airlines is just badass. I mean, those guys, they know how to put a plane together. And even in economy, it's like the best first class you can fly in the States.
It really is.
So, it did stink knowing that Tom was right above our heads. And if I had a big enough broom, I would have been banging on the floor at 380.
And he would have too. Actually, Roy called me at there's phones at every seat. And Roy called me at one time, and he's like, "Tom, you got to get Howard upstairs because he's going to get arrested when we get to New York."
So wait a minute. They actually have a phone so you can call every seat in the plane?
Yeah, every seat has its own phone.
Even the cheap seats do? Really?
Well, the cheap seats aren't cheap. I mean,
yeah. Well, no, I got you.
It is a nice airline. It's a real nice airline.
Yeah, very, 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 very professional. We kind of had a hairy ride coming back from Dubai last time, which kind of put a dent in it. But it was just the crowd of people, and it was just it was like a frat house, So, but very professional. I mean, they all wear uniforms. The food is amazing on it. I mean, we didn't stop eating. I swear to God, every 500 miles they were shoving food down our throat, which made the time go by. But they know how to get it done. Those guys in Dubai know how to put on a good party. Yeah,
well, they definitely got enough money. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. That whole region over there, I guess you could be pretty deep, pretty easy.
Yeah.
So what's new and exciting with Redline?
Well, I mean, 2016's off and running quicker than we thought. The new Camaro's been keeping us busy. Our twin turbo program has been picking up steam. We just last week or 2 weeks ago put in the 427 motor with the turbo system on it, and things cranking out like 900 and something horse, 915 to the tire, through an automatic, which is pretty cool. Considering that we're dealing with direct injection, and we've got a car that most people haven't even seen yet. So we've been busy with that. The new CTSV we're busy with. So a lot of 16s and cutting edge stuff we've been busy with, and trying to stay ahead. I mean, one of the advantages of being down in Florida is that it allows us to kind of, get to the track, test things, and do stuff. And I think it's been giving us a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, you've got nice year-round tuning and things. Yeah, that's pretty damn cool. Have there been advancements in the direct injection stuff? I mean, like, obviously we talked about the programming, but have there been any like aftermarket components? Like, see, these are the things that I think, at least across my mind, and I don't know if it goes with the listeners, but with the direct injection, the timing must be super critical because that's one of the ways they control detonation, is it putting the fuel in at the right exact time. So does that give you a shorter or a wider window to put fuel in? I mean, there was a lot of things that I was concerned, curious about as far as how the stuff actually worked out.
Yeah, we have a significantly less amount of time to get the fuel in because, before in a port fuel motor, the fuel was injected in the top of the intake port just after the intake manifold, and you had all these milliseconds of time for fuel to start mixing, go around the intake valve, swirl in, and it doesn't sound like a long path, but in the world of mixing, it's quite a bit of time in that, and with the fuel being injected right in the combustion chamber, I mean, it's got to get in there, it's got to mix, and it's got to be ready to light off fast. So it's actually about almost a quarter of the time that we had with port fuel, which is not a lot of time. And this is where some of the limitations come from, feeding these motors is one, the injectors, we don't have much to pick from. Fuel pumps, yeah, we've been robbing the pump from the LT4 motor that works, but that's about it. And then the fact that we have a quarter of the time, it's definitely creating a juggling act, so, we've kind of built some things around that. I mean, obviously, to make the power that we're making on our Camaro required us to supplement the fuel system with our own system. So we're actually running a port fuel system and a direct injection system at the same time.
I was wondering if you could do that. Like when I was sitting in it, it's so, this is, I swear to God, it had nothing to do with you calling it or anything today. But last night I was talking to somebody about these DI motors, and they said, well, couldn't you supplement the fuel? I said, yeah, I guess you could. I said, but depending on the timing, you could actually start putting fuel in and introducing a knock because now the fuel's there all the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's two things there's something else that's come up with direct injection that most port fuel guys have forgot about. And it's called pre-ignition. And pre-ignition is when the fuel kind of auto ignites on its own. And direct injection motors are typically higher compression because that's what makes them efficient. And they get away with high compression because one of the attributes of fuel is cooling. And the fact that we're shooting the fuel right into the combustion chamber, that gives us a huge benefit of cooling the chamber, which allows us to run more compression. Problem is if you get too much fuel in the cylinder with too much compression, you end up what happens with a diesel, and you basically auto ignite. So detonation is a high pressure sound wave that we get from the spark going off to advanced because the spark's going off before it's due, and then pre-ignition is the combustion's going off before it even sparks. Two things that are very, very dangerous to an engine. So and you got to watch that with the injection timing as well, especially on boosted motors.
Now, is that an aspect of the programming software, the actual injection time in relation, like essentially like you would set ignition timing, injection timing is also in there?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then we go and we put a bigger motor that changes crank angle, and we put a bigger camshaft in it, and you just completely messed everything that GM had done because you definitely don't want to be spraying with the exhaust valve open because you fill the exhaust system with fuel, so that becomes your end limit, and you want to start spraying as soon as possible. You also don't want to be spraying at a time when you could be blowing all the oil off the cylinder wall, wearing out the motor. So there's a lot of factors. And to be honest with you, I mean, and this is an interesting way to look at it. And I just had this example in the shop not even 10 minutes ago, but, I try to use the lemonade comparison. And what I mean by that is if you're trying to make lemonade and you've got 2 quarts of water and 1 scoop of sugar, you have a perfect mixture, right? If you follow the instructions, right? And so in this sense, the air is the water and the fuel is the sugar. Well, with direct injection, because of injection timing, I can have the right amount of air and the right amount of fuel, but when I sprayed it could completely mess up if it mixed or not. And DI motors get all pissed off if they're a tad too rich in the chamber with poor combustion, like you can't imagine. And this is why one of the tools of the industry that most guys are not aware of, that they will be aware of if they want to stay in this industry, is going to be a 5-gas analyzer. Because, how do we know that I burned it all unless I can measure it? Because you can't use an air fuel meter anymore and think that your fueling's good because you may have unburned fuel coming out the tailpipe. So it's kind of gotten more complex.
Can we do the analogy with iced tea instead of lemonade?
Yeah, we can mix that up. That's like using, C16 from pump gas. Yeah, whatever makes you happy.
All right, thanks. Next time.
So I use that example a lot at the front counter, and it makes people understand what the stoichiometric ratio is and the balance point, because at some point everybody's probably made lemonade.
Or makes them thirsty.
One of the two. Well, he's got a pitcher of lemonade on the counter all the time.
That is, I mean, you think about that. Now you've got a whole nother sequence of timed events that.
Well, that's why he's ahead of it, because he knew something about this stuff, as it was being released, kind of thing.
I'm just thinking about the millions, the combinations down the roads you would go, the wrong roads you could go if you weren't. Crazy. Yeah, this is pretty crazy.
Yep.
But I guess in the end, as it stands right now, like the direct injection stuff that you've really leaned on, how's it been mannerisms wise, drivability, fuel mileage? I mean, been good.
If you go back, and again, I can go back to a carburetor. I mean, as long as you can hit your target fueling, and your airflow models are correct, which is for another conversation, because that's a whole other thing with the torque control stuff. The car should go back to reacting pretty well. The other thing is the parts you pick. I mean, if you put some gigantic camshaft in these things, I don't give a shit if it's a carburetor car or a 16 ZL6. It's going to run like shit. So, we have to select things that also become, advantageous to the way the motor breathes, or, the best programming in the world can't fix a pumping problem. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a combination. But, we've got a lot of these cars out there that, they sound like the devil, they purr like a kitten, and they make all kinds of power. So we're obviously nailing some combinations at work. You can't get greedy.
They do sound good. They really do. All right, so sorry, man. Sorry to interrupt, but off of the car thing for a minute, actually, for a little while. It's pretty exciting what you got going on end of the month, huh?
Yeah, no, round 2 back to UAE is going to be a lot of fun, and obviously, you're a big component to that dynamic, and it's exciting to go back and see friends that you made. You go back to a place that you're more comfortable with, and then obviously them asking us to come out there and present the trophy for this year's winner was totally cool.
Yeah,
I just can't. I
Yep.
think it's awesome.
Yeah, in case some of the listeners don't know, there was an engine competition in Abu Dhabi last year that Howard won in very spectacular fashion. So they've asked him to come back and present the trophy to the winner this year, which I thought was really cool. And we're going to have quite a contingent of people out there from our side. The team I picked for this year is also from Florida. And we got that racing channel going out to do some video. They're the guys who do all the crazy videos. They got 1 million YouTube listeners, watchers or whatever. So it's going to be pretty cool. This year it's going to keep getting better, but this year is going to be a pretty big deal.
I know you always.
Well, last year,
Go ahead.
Last year
I'm
was
sorry,
the
Howard.
first year, though, wasn't it? I mean, wasn't that the first year of it?
Well, it was first year of the engine battle. It was the third year of the show. So first year of the engine battle, and it was good. I mean, there were some hiccups, and there's going to be this year. I'll tell you something. This year is supposed to be dune buggies, right? Because it was going to be easier to work on and all that stuff, and they couldn't pull it off, so we're getting trucks again.
Whatever works.
I found that out today.
Funny.
Today, I found that out.
Well, what was it going to be? Like those racing dune buggies, like you and I were talking about?
Yeah, with the engine in the back.
Yeah,
I
some
mean,
of those are pretty fucking neat.
they're neat. They are real neat. But the cool thing about them is the engine's exposed out back.
Yeah.
Real easy to work on, easy to put on a dyno. You can hook to anything. They look cool.
Mm-hmm.
And we're back to pickup trucks.
Wow.
Yeah.
But next year is going to be direct injection. And next year is going to be 4 competitors. And we're going to do round 1, 2 people advance, and then they're going to put superchargers on for the final. So they're going to have to rebuild and retune. Be pretty cool.
So there's going to.
I might have to step up in that. It's kind of like the Olympics. You don't go every year. You take a break for a little bit.
Yeah, you never know.
So they're going to build a motor.
Put it in a buggy next year.
Right. Tune it. The top 2 advance.
And then the motor comes back out, or not. It gets a supercharger, gets retuned, and
Well, I think if you're trying to figure out how good a tuner is, I think you'd want to just put the blower on, just like it sits.
yeah. Oh yeah, the motor's not going to come apart.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, you say you kind of made it sound like you were taking it apart again.
No, taking it out of the car. I don't know if you got to take it out of the car.
Oh, you mean to get?
Yeah,
to
I
it?
don't know the orientation of the buggy. I know in a pickup you could just put a blower on.
I know I say it all the time, and I never go anywhere. Like when you were going to California.
I know,
said,
but next year you're going to go.
Next year I'm going to go. I've really just got too much shit on my plate to go anywhere right now, and Tom knows I got a ton of shit on my plate.
Well, next year you're going to have to go.
Yeah, next year I might have to
We're
go.
going to have to go a week early.
Yeah, have to go a week or 2 early. Maybe we won't come back. I mean, who knows?
Who knows? Why,
see.
why come back?
So I wonder if there's any questions. Yeah, here's one from a guy who's over there, Nishad. He wants to know if you guys are going to go out and get food. Something about a steak is on Mixler.
I've learned. I know Tom's been out to Dubai many more times than me, and he kind of brought us around different places, and he's kind of acquired this taste for tube steaks, kind of Middle Eastern delicatessen. I don't know. Well, when Roy and I went last year, we were like, I don't really know about this.
Yeah, but you did. I mean, Nishad said you did like the tube steak, so you must have enjoyed it.
I just told Roy in the shop that I go, had Tom call you. I'm going to call him this thing a little bit. And he goes, yeah, you guys going to talk about tube steak?
He knew we would.
It just turned into this thing.
Dude, how funny was that PO the other day?
They get the girl in the office doing it.
I know.
There's one thing that's definitely in common across the entire automotive industry is ball breaking. It never gets old. It never stops.
Yep.
Well, it's not a sissy sport. I mean, you want to sell petunias, you want to make horsepower.
That's
I
right.
every day at the front counter, I says, we sell testosterone here. You know, what do you
That's right. That's exactly right.
legal testosterone, you know?
And Lord knows nobody got more of it than you do, man.
I don't know about that.
Well,
What do you want from me? Can't help. That's the way I was born.
I know. Howard's got one speed.
Yeah,
It's high gear, really.
That's good, especially in this business.
That's why the 14-hour flight, man, is just going to be, I'm not going to sleep on that thing. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is working or something.
Well, he'll write 3 chapters of a book he's writing, or something.
I couldn't do it.
It's funny. You know what's funny is like, with all the media stuff that we get involved with, I've actually written a few articles, one on DI as a matter of fact, and a couple other things, and I enjoy it. And every time I write them, I'm on a plane somewhere. So I'm like, I know when I'm traveling, I'm like, all right, I'm going to focus on getting that done because there's nothing else I could do, because I'm always running around trying to multitask, and when you're stuck on the plane, you can kind of focus on it, and so I guess I got 14 hours to do something. I could probably write a couple novels.
Now I have seen that you did not stop. I know you'd never stop. We never stop. But I noticed that they've been making incrementally faster and faster passes with that Corvette. That like every time I look, it seems like there's knocked a little bit off. Where is it at now? Best to date.
The twin turbo Z06.
Yep.
779, 178.
Wow.
We finally had to go up to Orlando Speedway to get some traction, and man, do they know how to make a track work. I mean, what we found is that the tire, that Radial Pro tire, it needs to be on a track prep for a Radial Pro event, which means it needs to be sprayed stem to stern. And I was just blown away at how well they take care of that track in Orlando. I mean, the car was 60 foot in 118s, 119s like all day, pulling the wheels. I mean, we never got that out of stuff at Palm Beach, and that was the difference. The cars always worked.
The one pass that I saw, the thing looked like it went nice, like straight. Didn't look like it was too big a handful. It looked really nice, like just a perfect pass.
I mean, that car. I mean, I pull the throttle on that thing, and then usually by the time I'm just past the 8th mile, I got my hand up on the chute, and it's just buzzing. Although that day it was a little bit breezy. There's a couple times I had to pull the chute at like the 1,000 foot. There was a couple of crosswinds, which were a little bit unnerving at times. But we're at the point now with that car. My goal is to go 770, so we kind of got into it. The car needs more power, and on the way back, Roy and I were discussing, it's going to be time for probably a little bit more motor and definitely some bigger turbos, because now you want to go a little bit more. But we're going to chill with that thing for a little bit. Like I said, we've been really focused on the Camaro and our turbo program and everything else we've been doing. So, but I love driving that car. I mean, it's a blast. It's well put together, and it just does its job. It's been good.
Awesome.
We learn a lot with it.
I don't know. I always watch that, and I'm like, man, that is just so perfect, so nice. Like everything's there, and I just want it, like I said, just tone back a little bit. And I wish there was somebody that could put turbos or something on a car, and not screw up GM's deal, with their whole warranty and everything. That's what I'd like. I'd like something that's like out of the box I could buy. Like Ford.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah, Ford has like performance parts. All kinds of stuff that you can buy, and they kind of let you get away with it. GM is just pretty locked down,
yeah. Well, we're working on something. I mean, this whole turbocharger program has a much bigger purpose. We knew when the new Camaro was coming back out again that I got a huge jump on the 5th gen Camaro, and I said I want to do it again. And this time I wanted to kind of like take some of the knowledge in the last 10 years and try to like really dial these cars in. And our turbo system, we've got a relationship going with SEMA. SEMA has another division called SEMA Garage, and SEMA Garage's function is to try to work with the aftermarket to try to get some of their parts compliant, meaning carb certified. And interestingly enough, they own their own emission laboratory that's been, certified, if you want to say, from carb. And we've been in some long discussions with them, and we feel that the way we designed our system, that it's got a pretty good shot at getting certified. And where this is going to end up going is that my relationships I started in New York with the dealers, we want to relight this kind of dealer build thing. And if we can get a system that's 50 state emission legal, we've already got the warranty part of it covered. that's going to give me one hell of a package to put together for dealers that could rival what Roush has been doing for years with the Mustangs.
So wait a minute, let me get this right. You want to get, well, I guess the first step of having a dealer install anything means it has to pass all the emissions testing.
No. It's not about the dealer installing it. We will be the car is going to have the turbo system on it, our own wheels, our own carbon fiber, aero package on it. The interior might be trimmed out, and that's the package. All the dealer does is be the portal.
Okay.
I'm not going to do this with every dealer. I mean, this is, again, something I did with Denoyer Chevrolet up in Albany, for almost 2.5 years with the Gen 5.
Mm-hmm.
But, one of the biggest problems a dealer has is like, oh, my God, I can't sell this. It doesn't meet emissions, And if we solve that, then we fixed a pretty big void.
So is this, and just so I got this straight, is this like new cars offer for sale with this, or the customer can have his car fitted after he has it?
Well, I mean, you got to play some of the legal game with it. I mean, what would happen is we're going to select probably 2 dealers in the country, one of them in Daytona that we do a lot of work with, and our marketing is very good. And when a guy sees he can buy a brand new 2016 Camaro that makes 200 more than stock, meets federal emission standards and a warranty, and it looks badass, they're going to be interested. We've done it before,
mm-hmm.
And for the dealer, I mean, obviously, it gives them a pretty good feather in their cap to add to their lineup. The guy's coming in to buy a stock one, and he can buy this other one that's, jacked up. Same way you'd see a separation between a C7 and a ZL6. Right away when you see it. You know what I mean? So we want something that's identifiable. But at the same time, we've done so much over the years with dealer-related stuff that it just fits our story. You know what I mean? We've done this before, and I just think it's fitting. So, it's a little bit of a gamble, but, we're a smart team of guys, and I've got some of my calibration buddies out in Detroit that are behind me with it as well, and I think if we pull this off, it's really going to put a pretty good dent in the industry about that you can do things and be compliant,
Yeah, and that's obviously the first step of any of this, any kind of relationship with the manufacturer or the dealers, is they can't give you something that's viewed as, illegal. I mean, even if it, we would look at it and say, well, it's just emissions, but, from the manufacturer and dealer perspective, they can't look at it that way.
No, and I think also, I mean, we don't know where things are going with the government and the EPA stuff, and I'd rather be on their good list than their bad list. And I think that if we go through these efforts and play the game, do it right, understand the rules, and pull it off, it's probably not going to hurt where we're heading one bit. You know what I mean? It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, and then you saw the crap that they were trying to stop. What was it? Late model cars or cars from being turned into
race
anything.
Cars.
Yeah, couldn't do anything.
Ridiculous.
Well, maybe you can help Volkswagen along the way too.
Yeah.
They're a little different. Yeah, a little.
We're excited about that. Actually, the guys from Super Chevy were just down here Wednesday night. We did a whole photo shoot on the car for Super Chevy magazine. Nobody has really been pushing the car, and all this has been the building block of where we're going. So, we want to offer a dealer package car completely done in the normal fashion that we do, and then we'll have 2 versions of the turbo system. One to be put on a stock engine, and the other one is the big boy package for making power that we're making right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a cool thing, and Tom and I were talking the other day. It may even lead into a version for the trucks, because I know the guys out in the Middle East love their trucks. So,
They do. It's all they got is Camaros and trucks.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, well, that sounds pretty neat.
The thought of obviously we're not Jack Roush, and who knows if we'd ever be there, but I don't think anybody's been able to step up on behalf of General Motors and give the team something to say, hey, look what we got. I mean, it's Roush builds these turd cars. I'm sorry, it is what it is. I mean, there's nothing fast and exciting. It's just a badged up car with a different seat in it, and they put a small pulley on it, and guys walk around like a bunch of chickens, and look what I got. I mean, seriously, where's the muscle? Where's the beef?
And what exactly what Howard's saying, I think I talked about it on a much earlier episode. The guy, there was a guy that I helped, a drag race guy. I don't want to say his name, but he was kind of a goofball. I mean, Ford guy. Uh-huh. And all of a sudden he's working with a dealer to have his own version of Mustang.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Is that Jimmy?
No, it's no, another guy.
Oh.
Now Jimmy's actually okay, but this is another guy. And he was like, I don't know, a guy that thought he knew everything. And this is the guy that asked me, you might remember the story, Tad. Well, I said, what are you doing with these stud mounted rockers? We got to get, Jessels. And he goes, what the hell's a Diesel? I'm like, oh, Christ, that's who we're dealing with.
That one lasted. That's that saying.
Yes. And that guy at one point in time had a Mustang, the blah, blah, blah edition. And GM doesn't have that.
No.
And so obviously Ford's bar is very low that this guy could get there. But yeah, it would be nice. GM never seems like they can compete on kind of the enthusiast level that Ford can. That seems to be something they've always been missing.
Well, Howard's going to force their hand now.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Bring back Yanko.
I've been going through this with these guys for years. I know Jamie Myers from the Performance Parts division for quite a few years now, and he'll check on me every once in a while and be like, "Hey, we're coming out with a new Performance Parts catalog." He's like, "What do you think we should put in it?" I'm like, "I don't know, everything that Ford puts in theirs." It's like, and then like when we went to SEMA, here we got a Camaro on the way, and they're going, "Oh, we got these grills and these side skirts and all this cool stuff." And I walked up to one of the reps. I'm like, "This is never coming out." "Oh, yeah, it is." I'm like, "It's not. Is this one available?" "Yeah." So I called the dealer from the floor at SEMA. I called my dealer in Florida. "We don't even know that part number." "Okay." So I went back and forth on all day long. I'm like, this is exactly the problem. So they have this grill, still not out yet. So like, what are you waiting for? It's a grill. So, they can't do it with the performance stuff, but, unfortunately and fortunately, there's a big loyalist base with GM cars. We are, but it's a little frustrating. Ford does an amazing job with promoting racing and supporting, their buyers of those cars. And how General Motors doesn't look over and realize this, I don't get it.
It's crazy. It's like they're lost, right?
Well, here, this is the big linchpin of it. Every time I talk to somebody up in GM, they're like, "Well, they don't let us do this. They don't listen." I'm like, "Who the fuck are they?" I go, "You telling me on the 30th floor in Detroit in the GM building there's a boardroom and it says they, and you go in there, you know what's in there? Nothing.
Yeah.
There's nobody.
Yep.
So nobody can make any decisions. Now we're going to get off on a tangent about corporations and the incompetence level, but it's like, the days when Zora Duntov was around, the father of the Corvette, where things just got done,
Yep,
are just long gone.
Yep.
Yeah, nothing gets done anymore without a committee and a subcommittee and an impact studies.
Environmental protection.
And all the cock and bullshit,
Yeah.
How about Hail Mary? And that's the whole thing. Like Zora, he was doing all kinds of stuff out the back, but it pioneered the company and brought Corvette to light and did all this cool stuff. And guys like that, they fire those guys in like 9 seconds.
And most of the shit works too. It's just it's sad.
And we talked about it like in the 80s when that generation of Camaro came out. With the tune port and all the stuff that you couldn't really mess with, but there were piggyback computers coming out, and there was more and more. They were making it more and more difficult for anybody to play with these things. And then they kind of had a nice reboot at the LS time, and they came out with all kinds of components and everything else. But it's like they just stop a little short of doing what all the enthusiasts would really want.
Well, the funny thing is, they had a little reboot after that tune port debacle, but the whole time Ford was all over everything.
Yep.
Like, they were pushing the 302. How many 302 Mustangs you figure were sold?
Oh, God.
It's
billions.
Yeah. You can't even count them. And meanwhile, do you remember the 84 Camaro?
Was that a Crossfire? Was that or was that the Corvette?
They both had it. The Z28 had it.
Yeah,
right?
it did. It was the craziest combination of ugly and slow. It was just awful.
With 2 one-barrel freaking fuel injectors.
My mom had an 85 Corvette, and I got to tell you, that thing, if you touched the throttle on it, it felt so good, but the problem is the remaining 90% of the pedal did nothing.
Yeah.
It felt very nice to drive, but there was just nobody home. Yeah. It just wasn't.
What year was it?
85.
That's so freaking funny because my mother, I remember when I was in high school, she had a 82 Z28 with the Crossfire 305 in it, and then a couple years later, my uncle bought an 84 Corvette, which back then was just like something out of like the science movie, and then my mother ended up getting an 86 Trans Am, and I just remember, that was really funny. We're kind of flipping gears here, but like that was the turning point for me from carbureted, hardcore, muscle cars to the technology. That was it.
And because see, that fuel injection car, it ran so nice, it started so nice, it did so much stuff nicely, and it's kind of like what we talked about with my stuff. I'd like this behavior, this throttle response, this feeling of a car, but just turned way up from where it is. I mean, if you know, I mean, it was a nice car. I mean, it was harsh, it was rattly, it was loud, you know, inside wind noise and everything. But overall, the everything was there. The idea was there. It just needed to be refined. And you know, I think honestly, the real GM refinement occurred around the LS stuff. That's when it started to get really good. And then they just, like you said, they kind of fall short. Look at Ford. Look what they're doing. What are you doing? It should be that simple.
I know. And we've talked about that a million times.
Designing
and even
everything.
Yeah, design. Look at the Challenger. Look at the Camaro. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
But nobody home. It's crazy.
Well, if it can't look pretty, make it real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why this whole, you know, thing I'm concocting here, I just think it's got to, you know, I'm kind of sometimes wonder what they're going to say if I can pull this off. What are you going to say now? You know what I mean? You know, you said it can't be done, and we just did it in your General Motors. So what are we talking about here?
Hopefully they'll follow.
Yeah, well, probably not. That's the problem. You know, I remember when that 454 crate motor came out, the LSX 454 back in like 2010.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm like, we're gonna stuff that in a new Camaro right away. And I had gotten the first 3 engines from them because I had been hounding them like crazy at PRI and SEMA. And the motor showed up, and we take the motor out of the crate and we look, and it's an 8-bolt crank, right? And Tom, you know what goes on with this stuff. We're looking at this and we're going like, what are we doing with this thing? Nothing. Like, why would you make this motor with an 8-bolt crank when you plan on selling this motor to a guy in a '69 Chevelle that has no idea with no clue? We at least knew that it was like a CTSV or something. Those guys don't have any idea.
Yeah, those guys, they did all that crap. What they do with everything. They did it with the bow tie big blocks. You couldn't buy a bow tie big block unless it was set up for a one-piece rear seal. Right. You know, and you're buying this to build a race car. Yep. Stupid.
I called up Jamie Myers and I said, what are you doing? He said, I don't know. He goes, well, it's going to take us about a year to make a flywheel for that thing. I was like, okay. So we went out in the shop, pulled another flywheel, welded it all up, put it on the CNC machine. The motor was in the car the next day. Like, big deal. You know,
I would take it a step back and go, like, what was the engineer thinking? Like that he was going to change the world by putting 2 more bolt holes in a flywheel flange?
Yeah, because the bolts that were there they come off all the time.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a known problem.
I know. That's all you ever hear about.
Tom, it gets even worse when you break it all down. It's a 4/100 stroke crank. It isn't like it was a crank out of a production unit and they used it. What are you making a 4/100 stroke crank for with 8 bolts for? It doesn't cross lateral with anything.
No.
Right? So it's not like, we're using the crank out of the Z28 and that's why we had a lot of them, so we stuffed it in the motor, because GM is notorious for going on in the parts bin and being like, oh shit, we got a bunch of these left over, a bunch of these, let's call it and do something with it. That's what the Grand Sport was. When the Grand Sport came out for the C6, that's all that was.
I think that's part of what my 427 is. I think it's like a ZR1 nose.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot of shit like that put together. They're like, all right, look, let's make a special edition and use up all our shit. Our dumb customers will just buy it. Yeah. And here I am.
It's like cooking with Emerald, right? I mean, you watch these food shows, and he's got this, he's that. He does the twist, handstand, and goes bam, right? And you're like, wow, look what he made. It's the same shit he used on the last show. He just fucking rolled it on the floor 3 or 4 times, and then it's like, where are we going with this?
It's funny.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, not at all.
Well, I hope that works out well for you, Howard, and we'll be following it. And, hopefully you keep us informed if this goes further, because that's really something that, everybody would like to see, me included. Well, I guess plug your business, tell people how they can get in touch with you, invite them to Abu Dhabi for a tube steak if you're going to go.
Yeah.
For what is it? $12,000 for first class time in that thing, whatever.
Each way, right?
Yeah, each way.
See?
Yeah,
tube steak included, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, listen. We're in the social media loop. Facebook's been fun to use, and Instagram's been hot, and it doesn't take much to go to Google and type our name, and a lot of stuff's current, and the web guys keep up on us. But we're down here in South Florida trying to put a dent in this industry and move ourselves up the pack. I've always felt that the industry, and I don't mean just Florida, nationally and even internationally, really could use another, or a good quality superstar shop that gets cars, gets the customers, always on the cutting edge, and we're on a mission. So it's kind of like what the Redline motto is, and we've had our ups and downs getting there, but who hasn't when you're trying to grow a brand? But we got a lot of stuff in the works. So, that's we're not hard to find.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, every time I see something on Facebook from you guys, I look at, what you just did, how fast it went or how much power it made, and I'm like, damn.
Yep.
I mean, this is the real deal. So, any late model, GM performance guys out there, you need anything, these are the guys you got to look at. You have to.
No doubt.
All right, man. Anything else?
Maybe we'll, I don't know, maybe Tom and I will call in from Dubai or something in some kind of like.
Yeah, actually, the timing works out. Last year, I called in and did some of the show. Maybe we will do it. Actually, Howard and I are staying on after the show. We're going to spend like 3 days trying not to get killed over there. No, we're gonna visit shops and stuff like that. We're gonna have a good time.
My God, I wish I had a little more time.
Next year.
Looking forward to it.
Next year,
if you behave.
Yeah, right.
We'll bring you on the plane or not.
Yeah,
I don't know. With you two guys going together, hanging out, it might be if you're allowed to go back.
yeah, true.
Hey, they like us.
They do.
You know what I mean?
For some reason.
Well, Mike will get him kicked out.
They like us.
Yeah, I might be the problem.
Yeah.
Tom for sure is a schmoozer with it, and he always can go back. I'm surprised they called me to come back, so they must have liked something. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
They like you.
All right, Howard. Well, thanks again, and keep in touch.
We'll be talking, bud.
You got it.
All right.
Sounds good. See you soon.
All right.
Bye.
See you.
He's a really sharp dude.
I know. And hey, I gotta say a couple things before I forget. First of all, Jay Hoots is listening to the show right now. He is one of the competitors this year for the engine battle.
Really?
Yeah, he is.
Well, you got a shot. Howard ain't going to compete. He's just going to hand you the trophy if you can pull it off.
No, I'm hoping they do. Him and Jay Marr from Real Street are doing this thing, and I think Jason is building the engine, and then they both collaborate on tuning. I've been talking to them. They're gonna be fine.
Now, this thing, just to recap, they build a motor, they put it in a vehicle, and they don't get to do test pulls or shit like that, right? It's
No.
like it's off the stand in the vehicle.
First pull
with
matters.
a tune that will be, close or good.
That you hope.
Well, you better know.
Well, there's no way to know. They're pre-tuning stuff now and probably talking to people and Howard had a good idea because he does this every day. Jason, I think, has a Mustang. Well, I know he does, and a smart car. And
No.
yeah, he does.
I hope it's got like a set of turbos or something on it. God.
No, he's got a real smart car.
Really?
Jay, I'm hammering you right now. Sorry, buddy. And obviously, Jay Marr from Real Street has, a super badass Supra. He's gotten 197.5 mile on a car he drove to his wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not Chevy guys, but I know they're smart guys. I mean, I didn't pick them because they're cool, although they are.
So they go off the stand into the car, load the tune, make the pull,
And it better be good first one.
and it better be good first.
I mean, Howard actually, I still contend that Howard won last year and I knew he would. I didn't know he'd win, but I knew he'd be good on the first pull because of all his experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you make a 500 horsepower hit first one,
Mm-hmm.
and you got 10 hits, and your competitor makes a 540 hit,
Yeah,
you're done.
and it's your first one. Yeah, because his is only probably going to get better.
Yeah, and yours better get better, but you can't get that much better. And I mean, it's not like you can't change anything. You can't put a pulley on it. You can't put nitro in it. So it's you got to be good right from jump. But they're both very smart guys. It's gonna be cool.
Like I said, I really would like to go to this one. It's really a shame. Well, next time I'm gonna make sure I get there.
Yep.
Tad,
Yes.
that's what. Yeah, that was Tad's.
Yep.
Yeah, crickets, and yep.
Well, Mike, was saying he's going to go someplace, and it's never going to happen.
No,
Listen, dipshit, I've been more places than you've been. Okay, you've been to the emergency room about 8 times with your formatting and sector mapping.
Two other things, real quick. Ryan Foxbox. I don't know who this is, but he was asking about Crunch. I guess he said he missed the beginning of last show. I mean, do you want to recap that a little bit? I mean, I guess
We could. It's kind of, there's a bunch to it. But realistically, it comes down to timing, travel time, trying to game plan for the show. I mean, it was just, and we had some discussions about it, and I guess, look, Crunch, the door was open. We just had to try to find a way to make things work, and he just decided that it was easier for all involved to just say, he's going to leave the show for now. And it doesn't mean we don't ever want him to come back, and it doesn't mean we don't ever want him to call in. And nobody's mad at anybody. There's no hard feelings. There's nothing.
I'm mad at Tad for talking about a fucking knucklehead Harley Davidson.
Well, as far as the stuff with Crunch goes, so we do hope he can call in from time to time. I think it's just it's his choice, and that's fine. But like I told you, in our area where I am, it's beautiful. The most traffic you have here is to slow down for the deer. There's nothing here. But when you're coming from all the way, York, from the New York and Newark side,
it's tough.
It's kind of hard to ask somebody to say, look, leave your house, 2.5 hours early or 2 hours early. That sucks, so.
Well, I come from PA, hit the house, but luckily I'm like a hop, skip, and a jump from the.
Yeah, well, the good thing is you go home, at an early enough hour most times,
yeah.
If you're not doing installation, you've got, a moment to dick around, get cleaned up, and then come here. And, we're what? You're 5 miles away, maybe?
Not even.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Ryan, the guy who asked, is a new guy, and he says he listens every week, so let's thank him and spread the word for us, Ryan. And we also had a guy, Rich Mogul. He is from Eastern PA. He wants us to next show. I guess we're going to have to talk about dirt track racing.
Oh, do we have to?
Hey, man, fans are asking, and we got to do what we got to do.
Okay. Did you ever imagine, like, if you had a severe drug problem and you finally got away from it? Okay, like you finally could wake up one day and say, I'm clean, I'm good, I'm past this. And nobody says, hey, you want to go do this? And you're like, oh, fuck. It's the same thing, dude.
All we got to do is talk about it a little bit.
I know, but it's hard for me to talk about it and not be full of hatred.
Why don't we have your brother on?
Because he'd do nothing but abuse you nonstop.
Come on.
I think that's a big portion of the reason. But he would come on and he would talk about it. And it is a disease when you get sucked back into it. And I got to a little point, I started to get sucked back in again, like where I was looking at like the 358 stuff and, the wheels are going as far as what you could do to make a motor perfect and even better. And, I always tease them because a lot of the engine building side, that did this stuff, at least while we got into it, they were hillbillies. They had bad ideas on top of old time ideas that were passed down. And now technology is finally starting to catch up. I know Tommy Martino, and a very good engine builder in the area, an ex-pro stock racer.
Yep.
He's doing more and more of them. So the intelligence is going to come down to the grassroots guys, over time, and that's what happens. Happens with everything else. We started with the 2-barrel stuff, made an astronomical amount of power. People said it's not possible. Then we went out there and we won like everything, and now kind of everybody that said it wasn't possible is where we were.
Right.
But you can only go back to the well so many times. It's like,
well, just so you know, your brother's not even, he's not smart enough to abuse me. So, let's bring him.
He'd just be obnoxious. He's much more obnoxious than I am.
He is
much more.
He's actually funny too.
Yeah. He'd probably come in. He'd probably sit in here one day.
Yeah.
I think that would be an interesting show.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of good stories.
He would make fun of you relentlessly, Ted. He'd call you quirky every 5 minutes. Oh boy. All right. And I did see we had a guy listening from where?
Kazakhstan.
Because I didn't pay attention or slept in parts of high school. I don't even know where that is.
Oh, I've been all over the place.
It's by Uzbekistan.
Oh yeah,
There
that
you
helps. Right next door. Same area code, I think.
I don't know. I don't know where it is either. I'm just making shit up.
I don't know. I know. I
bet you Tanner knows.
Tanner probably does. I know that like one of my customers is in Serbia, and I think that's in that general region.
Yeah, Kurdistan. Okay, so we've talked about this now for 35 seconds, and you would have thought that somebody would have been Googling it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Our IT guy over there.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even spell those damn names. How the hell am I going to find them?
It's on the chat room. You can copy and paste it.
But it is nice that we got people from those areas. And you said even your guys listen over in where are they? Are they actually in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Abu Dhabi, Dubai.
Well, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
The Emirates. No, we're worldwide, man.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't know how it happened. Tanner laughed.
Is Tad actually trying to look this up? No, Tad, it's a little late, but
It'll be for next show.
Next show.
Middle of next
you
show.
Can lead off with that. And why?
Well, see, I have an iPad product, so I can't grab that and copy it. So
Got it.
Junk.
He's just.
I know
it's
a mess.
so bad on so many levels.
I know it is a mess.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. I'm glad Howard could call in.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Now, you're leaving next week?
I'm leaving tomorrow, Wednesday. Wednesday morning, I'll be back. I'll be back for next week.
You'll be back for next week?
Yep.
All right. All right. Anything else you got to say, Tad? You want to talk about, I don't know, lawnmowers or
Electric jet skis.
Yeah, whatever.
No. Don't you drag me into that.
All right. Well, we'll be back next Monday night. See you later.
Later, guys.